go and follow the Miami Heat, home or away, it's must see. And it's going to be a close game. It's going to be a possession game. There's going to be some crazy things that happen in the last 3 minutes. And we showed a lot of grit in 48 hours. Both games down. Last night down 5, tonight we're down 10. But it just felt like the entire second half we just never could get our footing, but we stayed with it and showed that necessary grit, that you like to see out of a team. Hanging around and made some plays and got some big defensive stops there at the last 3 minutes of regulation. And then, guys hit some big shots. Each one of them, Max, Gabe, Tyler, a couple of the floaters. And then when we got into overtime, it was Tyler and Jimmy, really getting to their areas and giving us that cushion. But defensively, everybody really had an impact, and it's not an easy team to guard. They're so aggressive with their drives and their attacks, and Jimmy and Bam were just really good at the point of the attack, all the way down the stretch. And I had to play Bam all the way through in the fourth quarter and overtime, and they just showed great endurance and mental toughness, to gut everything out on the second night of the back-to-back.
The overall offensive numbers obviously weren't great, but what did you like about the way you guys executed on the stretch when in the zone?
The most important thing is, getting the ball where it needs to go, make sure your spacing is right, and then, step up and make plays aggressively, and that's what our guys do. They're not afraid of the moment. My stomach is turning, and and they love it. They love these kind of games as competitors. That's when they feel most alive. And we have a ton of experience. So we have, the packages where we know where we want to get the ball, and then facing all the different coverages that we've faced. That's a big part of it. But you also have to get the stops. I mean, if we didn't get the stops when we were down 10, that would have just been a slow death, going the other way.
Coach, you spoke about the grit. 10 turnovers for the Magic through 3 quarters. You guys forced 8 in the fourth quarter in overtime. How are you guys able to turn up that defensive pressure in the fourth quarter and overtime on the second night of a back-to-back?
Just absolute urgency to try to do whatever it took to get this win. We knew that we wouldn't necessarily feel great, physically, because we're short a few guys and minutes restrictions, on other guys, but we burned the boats and just figured that we got to go for it and try to get the win, by any means necessary. I mean, there are some plays that they had in the paint, either on drives or offense rebounds or scramble situations, that if we didn't come up with a deflection or the steal or a hand on the ball, they were scoring or getting to the line. So, we have playmakers on both sides of the floor, and we really need the defensive playmaking, those final 3 or 4 minutes.
Now with Tyler, he had 5 points at the half, had 17 in the second half in overtime. What do you feel like he was able to figure out in that second half to allow him to score that much?
He usually does figure it out. And I think with Tyler, it doesn't affect him necessarily, if he has a 2 for 10, first half. He's still going to play his game, and I think he didn't necessarily have his legs for the 3 ball, particularly in the first half. So in the second half, he put the ball on the floor and was able to get to some floaters, some runners that he makes look easy. Those are not really easy shots, but he has just a great touch on those. And once he saw a couple of those go, I think that helped him get in better rhythm. And Bam and Jimmy did a really good job of getting him in those situations on dribble handoffs where he was able to get downhill.
Thank you.
He gave up his other 20 points, but his impact defensively tonight, especially some switches where he's guarding bigger guys.
Yeah, it was really important. I mean, this is a huge team, right? So we're switching and they're rolling up. Basically everybody there setting the screen was 7 feet, and that's what Gabe can do defensively. He's a bigger guy, 200 plus pounds. So what he may give up in height, he can make up for that in toughness and a little bit of girth, to his frame. He's got a big, strong frame, and he has a competitiveness that he's not going to give up an inch, in the paint. But he also, I'm sure, didn't feel great in his legs and everything in the second half, and he was all over the place, putting his fingerprints on things defensively, and then he had some big, threes that really just kind of kept us alive and gave us that life, and then, the go-ahead ones too.
The minutes limit just kind of go out the window for Jimmy once overtime.
Yeah, once you get to overtime, I mean, this is just, we want to be smart about it. We're not going to be militant about it. I thought if it didn't go overtime, I thought we were in a great place. But we'll rest up and get ready for Monday, and we just have 5 days until All-Star break.
Coach, your second time seeing Ben Carroll, your thoughts on him tonight?
Yeah, he's going to be a heck of a player. His skill level and his size, his maturity for a young player is unique, and he's in a great program right now. I think Mo's does a great